We've been following this story over in Annapolis, and it's really quite the story. Very interesting. It has to do with the mayor-elect, Mike Pantelides, who we expect will be with us here in just a few moments.
He won fair and square. Yeah. Big election last week.
Now, look, you have to understand what the situation is in Annapolis. Annapolis, when you look at registered voters, there are twice as many Democrats as there are Republicans. And yet this guy, running as a Republican, was able to defeat a Democratic incumbent, and he became the mayor-elect. It was a close election. He won by only 59 votes. But they looked very closely. They declared him the winner. And then almost immediately, the democratically controlled council, there are 7 Democrats, 1 Republican on the council, they made the decision that they were going to move to strip the mayor of all his power.
Yeah, they're going to have the city manager report to the council itself.
Yeah. The power has been invested in the mayor of Annapolis for about 300 years.
Yeah.
I mean, the system pretty much has been in place for 300 years. But now the Democratic Council, faced with the fact that maybe a Republican is going to be in charge, and by the way it works right now is the city manager hired by the mayor, and the city manager reports to the mayor and the council. The council has the ability to fire the city manager if they so choose. But the mayor hires him. And they don't like that. And there's a lot of concern about it. So there actually is a movement underfoot right now to take the power away from the mayor and give it to the council.
All right. Well, the man who is the mayor-elect, the duly elected mayor-elect for the city of Annapolis, joins us right now. Mike Pantelides, thanks for joining us on Mornings on the Mall.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
All right. So what was your reaction when after you fought this hard-fought campaign, you win by 59 votes, you oust an incumbent Democrat, and then you learn that the council wants to take away all of the power that the mayor has traditionally had in the city of Annapolis?
Well, the first thing I told people is that this battle's been going on for a while. It's not about Democrat, Republican. They tried to strip the powers away under the former Democratic administration and the Democratic administration before that. So it's an ongoing fight. My biggest comment is we've had the same form of government for 300 years. Why change it?
Well, and you say they tried to do this before. I'm guessing that did the council have the same makeup as it has right now? And were there any elected officials who voted against that shift last time who are now entertaining switching their vote and voting for the new powers?
Well, the makeup of the council has changed. It's still the same number of Democrats to Republicans, but the one thing that's different is that it won't change because people don't want to see it. There's no political will. So as much as Ross says he has the votes, at the end of the day, it comes down to the people, and people will put pressure on him not to change the form of government.
Well, you say that, but, I mean, he does say, this is Russ, what's his name? I got it right here. Russ Arnett. He's the alderman who is pushing this forward. In fact, let's listen to a little bit of him talking about it. Let's go to cut 13.
I've been thinking about this along with some of my colleagues, no matter who was elected.
And he says that there is an imbalanced system in place.
What we have in the city government is a very unbalanced system. There are no checks and balances.
Well, as I understand it, the mayor hires the city manager. The city manager reports to both the mayor and the council under the current system, but it's the council that has the ability to fire the city manager at any time without the approval of the mayor. Is that right?
That's correct.
Well, that's a check and balance, is it not?
To fire the city manager at any time. The one thing people have to realize about the city government, if you look it up in a textbook, we have a weak mayor form of government, meaning by definition, the powers of the mayor are already weak. If you move to a council manager form of government and do what Ross does, it's basically ceremonial. You don't even need to have a mayor. And in terms of creating chaos, right now the city manager reports to the mayor and the council. If you switch to that form of government, you basically create 8 little mini-mayors. So now instead of reporting to one person, the mayor or the council, all the aldermen are going to come to the city manager and pull them in 100 different directions. So in terms of organization and structure, as I said, we've had the same form of government for 300 years. It's worked under Democrats, worked under Republicans. I respect Ross's opinion. We actually spoke the other morning on the phone. I just think it's premature the day before or the day I win to kind of strip all the powers away. And I think people are upset about it.
Yeah, and Mayor-elect Mike Pantelides is our guest. He's the new mayor for Annapolis, or will be. But what we're talking about here is that if the aldermen have their way, he's not going to have a whole lot of power. You've got a 7-1 domination there on the council by Democrats, and I'm guessing they did not support you in this election. Do you have any kind of agenda that you ran on that should make the council worried that you're going to be the new mayor?
I don't think so. At the end of the day, everybody wants good government. And in fact, there's 157 cities in Maryland. Only 4 have partisan elections, Democrat or Republican. I'm going out with all the aldermen next week, taking them to lunch. I knew most of them personally before I got elected mayor, so I don't think there's going to be as much animosity as they think. And even Ross said, the vote for council manager will come a year, 2 years down the road. So I don't think it's anything imminent that will, threaten my administration.
Can you tell me how it is that you were able to defeat a Democrat who's been in office? He's the incumbent when the registration is about 2-1 Democrat in Annapolis.
Well, it was a very big uphill challenge. The one thing I had done is I had come from politics. So I had managed political campaigns in the past. I had sold political advertising, and I currently work in government relations. So I knew what I had to do to win. The other thing is I'm truly blessed to have a fantastic campaign team. They went door to door, made phone calls, and I think the issues resonated. We went through 2 rounds of tax increases, water bills doubled, and rich and poor, that affects people's pocketbooks, and people were just looking for a fresh start for the city of Annapolis.
And Mr. Pantelides, if I could just ask you, I want to get to the point of Sheila Finlayson. She's one of the aldermen, correct?
Correct.
And Ms. Finlayson, apparently in 2010, she was opposed to the idea of making the council have the power here in Annapolis. But now, after you've been elected, it appears as though she's rethinking that. Am I reading this correctly?
That's my understanding as well. I mean, I lived through this fight 4 years ago, and there wasn't votes back then, and I don't think the votes are there today. But at the end of the day, it's healthy to have this discussion. I left Sheila a voicemail yesterday, and I'm going to, like I said, take each of the aldermen out, sit down with them, really hear what they like to see the city government, what they want to see stay, what they want to see change. But for the most part, I don't think there's any political will besides the council, the actual people in the city. If you went door to door, not a single person brought this up to me when I knocked on their door, and I knocked on over 1,000.
So it sounds like there's going to be a little crab cake diplomacy on your part.
I like that term. I might copy it.
All right. You feel free to use it. It's my gift to you. All right. Well, listen, Mike, we want to stay in touch with you and see how this goes. Please don't be a stranger.
All right. I appreciate you having me on.
And
keep us in the loop.
And congratulations on your victory.
All right. Thank you, sir.